I tried putting it off for as long as I could, but it's finally time. Today, I'm going to review the all-in-one Flower Power Granny Yarn by Yarnspirations. Fingers crossed, you guys. For those of you that aren't aware, a few months ago I did a review on this Red Heart all-in-one granny square yarn. This is just new to Australia. It hasn't been around for very long over here. I know it's been out in the US for some time, and I was super curious. So as soon as it arrived, I ran out and grabbed some and gave this a bit of a try. And to say that the attempt left me somewhat frustrated is a bit of an understatement. It took me almost 4 hours to make one granny square, and the tension on this thing is terrible. I did get it done, I did persevere, and I finally got it finished, but it was the longest 4 hours, I'm gonna say, of my life. I will say, though, I only had to weave in 2 ends. So, uh, is it worth it? Probably not, honestly. But one of my lovely subscribers saw the Flower Power all-in-one granny square. So this is something new from Red Heart. It's another version of the all-in-one yarn. It is a self-striping yarn, and it basically saves you from having to fasten off at the end of every row and change colors. It does it all for you. So basically, you're not having to stop each round and fasten off and weave in your ends. You just keep going, keep crocheting, and keep working on your granny square, and the yarn itself will change colors for you. That's the idea behind it, anyway. All right, well, let's take a closer look at the yarn. So this is the Yarnspirations Red Heart all-in-one Flower Power yarn. So as I said earlier, this is a self-striping yarn, which basically means you don't have to fasten off and change colours each round. You just keep working with the yarn and the colour changes itself. So the issue there becomes tension. Not everybody has the same tension. So what they do tell you to do is to keep a selection of hook sizes beside you so that you can change hook sizes to change your tension. So the recommended hook size for this particular skein is a 5.5 mil, which I have over here. So there's my 5.5, but I've also got a 5 mil and a 6 mil close by, just in case. What else can we find out on here? So there is step-by-step instructions on the back in both English and French. Yarnspirations.com also have free patterns available on their website, and some of them are fantastic. I really like checking out the patterns on the Yarnspiration site. They're just lovely, very creative too. We can see here that it's a medium 4 weight or a 10 ply for us Aussies. It's 100% acrylic. They recommend a 5.5 mil crochet hook, as I mentioned earlier, or a 5 mil knitting needle, and your squares should end up as 6 by 6 inches or 15 by 15 centimeters squared. Now I'm just going to bring in the square I made with the original all-in-one granny square yarn. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this took nearly 4 hours. And the tension is awful. Some of the rows are really tight and really stiff, and some of the others have a bit more give. And so, a blanket or a wearable using this square would be awful. It would be really uncomfortable. But let's check the measurements. Exactly 6 inches, just as the label suggests. So it did turn out the right size, so that's one thing for it, I guess. All right. So let's have a look at the back of the label because most of the information is on the back. Oh, the other thing is that one skein of this yarn should produce 12 squares. So that's assuming it all works out well. Now let's have a look at this label. I might cut that off actually. Just try not to cut the yarn. Don't cut the yarn, don't cut the yarn, don't cut the yarn. Don't cut the yarn, don't cut the yarn. Okay, so there we go. There's the yarn. It's very pretty. It is soft, but not the softest acrylic I've ever felt. It's very comparable to our Four Seasons Spot Saver yarn. So if you're an Aussie and you shop at Spotlight, the 10 ply, I think I've got some behind me. There we go. So very similar to this Four Seasons Spot Saver. That's a 10 ply 100% acrylic, and it's roughly the same size as this Super Saver yarn as well. So you can see there that the sizes and the thickness of the yarn are comparable. So let's just have a look at the back of the label. And of course, I've cut right through the graph. So I'm probably going to have to pull up the website to have a look at the graph, but it should have the written instructions here. Again, instructions are saying that each color aligns with specific rounds in the motif using 3 colors in total. So we can see here we've got a white, a pink, and a purple. Motif begins with color 1. So I'm just going to have a quick flick through here. Chain 3 at beginning of round counts as a double crochet. The chain 2 at beginning of round does not count as a stitch. Okay. So I'm going to read through these instructions very quickly. I remember last time I had to leave exactly a 10 centimeter tail, and it looks like I have to do the same thing again. And they're recommending that you change up your hook size if you're having trouble with tension. So I'll just have a quick read through of this and then we'll get started. Okay, so we need to start with a center pull and we need a 10 centimeter tail. So I'm just going to pull out as much of this as I can so I can see where the color change is there. Okay. Okay. So there's the yarn at the 10 centimeter mark. So we're just going to grab it there and that's where we'll put our slip knot in the yarn. Over the top you go. There we go. Don't need the tape measure anymore. Got my 5.5 mil hook. Okay. Now, because I cut through the actual graph on the back of the label, I'm following that same graph on the website. So I've got my trusty laptop nearby. So I'm just going to have a look at that and see what I need to do. So chain 4 and slip stitch to create that magic circle. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm trying to keep a loose tension if I can, just because I have quite a tight tension and I remember that being a real issue with the original yarn. So I'm hoping that I can just get this first round done and relax my tension as much as I can. Not too much though. All right, so I'm chaining 3 and then I'm adding another 9 double crochet into the ring. So let's do that now. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Working over that tail. 4. 5. Loosen up, Mel, loosen up. 6. 7. Where's that color change? Back all the way back here. Okay. 8. Oh, might actually do it the first time. Look at that. First color change is complete. And it happened at the right time. Look. Ooh. Oh, this is exciting. Doing this is like playing the worst game of yarn chicken ever. It is very anxiety driven. Like it's ugh. Okay, so for round 2, we're basically increasing all the way around. So we just chain 3 to start this round, and then we're doing another double crochet in the first stitch, and we're doing 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So let's try that and see how we go. Trying to keep that tension nice and loose. I have to say, I really am enjoying the colors in this yarn. Now, there were 22 different colorways available in this range, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just keep going. Keep it loose. 1, 2. Some more yarn, please. Still can't see that color change coming, so that's good. Looks like we've got a fair bit of yarn before that changes color. All right. I can do this. I can do this. It's not going to be too difficult. So keep going. Might speed this bit up and come back to you when I get to the end of the round to see how round 2 went, eh? Fingers crossed. I don't have too much more to go. All right, I've got 2 more stitches left, and I can't see the color change coming through at all yet, which is a little bit of a worry because that's a lot of white. I'm getting a little bit concerned. I'm just going to check. No, they're white petals. That's correct. Okay. All right. Trust the process. I think I'm going to be way too. I'm going to have way too much left over. And okay, so this is my last stitch for the round. I've done my increases all the way around. There's my slip stitch, so I'm back at the start. There's my original chain 3. But look how much yarn I've got left. What have I done wrong? I'm going to double check the pattern, make sure I'm doing this correctly. Was I meant to be doing 3 double crochets maybe? When does the color change? There. Okay. That's a hell of a lot of yarn. Okay. So surely either I've made a mistake or the pattern's wrong because there shouldn't be that much yarn left. All right. Something suspicious is going on. I need to look into this, I think. That shouldn't be right. According to that, I'm going to have to fasten off and weave in an end and then join with the new color, and that's not how it's supposed to work. All right. Leave it with me. I'm going to check the pattern again. I don't really want to fasten off because that defeats the purpose. Let me look into it. I'll be back. What's happening? At least it's not the other way around. With the other yarn, I ran out way before the color change was due, and I still had 3 or 4 stitches left to go. So to have this much yarn left over at the end of a round, I mean, I could frog it and redo it with a 6 mil hook and see if that makes any difference. I really don't know. All right, I'll be back. So the reason I have so much white yarn left over after that second round is because I still have more to go. I have to keep going with the white. The color change hasn't started yet. Hey, it's been a very long day and I've only had one coffee. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Oh, I've still got a whole nother round to go with the white. Okay, all right. What am I doing? So I looks like I am chaining 3 and then I'm doing 3. No, I'm doing chaining 3 and doing 1 triple in the same stitch. Actually, no, I was supposed to slip stitch across first. I'll get there, you guys, trust me. It'll be fine. Slip stitch across. There we go. Now chain 3, 2, 3, and now treble in the same stitch. All right. Then what am I doing? Then I'm doing 3 trebles in the next stitch. Mm. 2 and 3. What a whacker. And then 1 treble, 1 double in the next stitch. Can't believe I thought the color was all off. I was expecting it to be a major disaster. Oh no, why do I have so much color left over? Because you haven't finished with it yet. Okay, so that looks like the standard pattern. So I'm slip stitching into the next stitch here and then doing the rest. All right. So there's 1 petal. So what I'm going to do is keep working my way around and I'll come back to you at the end of the round or when the color changes. We can see the next one's going to be that beautiful purple there. So I'll keep doing this round and I'll come back to you either when the color change hits or at the end of the round and hopefully it will be both. So I'll keep going and I'll see you soon. Okay, so final petal of round 3. All right, let's see how we go. Okay, so start with my double. Keep that tension. Then my triple. Don't want it to be too tight because I don't want the end result to be really stiff, but at the same time, I want to make sure I hit those color changes. So 1, 2. How we doing? Third treble. After this, I'll have 1 treble, 1 double, and a slip stitch left. Oh, I don't know. Let's see how we go. 1 treble. Oh no. All right, let's frog this last petal back again and see if we can do it again. I can do this. I can do this.
Ribbit, ribbit.
All right. All right. That's enough yarn to be able to do what I need to do. I can do this. All right. So, double. and a treble in the same stitch. Three trebles, here we go. One, two, three, or maybe one treble. Oh dear. One double. I don't know if I'm going to make it. No. Okay. Well, might have to frog back to these two. So this will be the second time I've had to frog it. All right. I got this. I can do this. Stay calm. It's fine. Everything's
Ribbit,
fine.
ribbit.
It's been going so much better than last time. All right. So let's try these last two petals and I'll come back to you either when the color changes or when I'm at the end of the round. We'll see how we go. All right, I got this. I can do this. All right, got to do one treble, one double, and one slip stitch with that much yarn. Maybe this might be the one. Let's see. One treble. One double. Oh, and the slip stitch is in purple. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. It's not quite right, but I'll take it. It's very, very close. Very, very close. So I'll take that. I'll take that. I reckon, I mean, I could try and redo it again, but I feel like I'm not going to get much closer than that. So I think I'll take that. I'll accept that. I'm happy with that. All right, on to round 4. Okay, so we're starting round 4 and it says to slip stitch into the next double crochet, which would be a slip stitch up here, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to do that, I don't think. I think that's going to be weird. But it is saying to start with a chain 3 and then continue on from there. So I'm doing some half doubles, some doubles all the way around. So basically we're turning this flower into more of a square. But I received an amazing suggestion from one of my subscribers when I mentioned the Flower Power yarn. I think she actually watched the live video of me unboxing it and receiving this as a gift from Tanya at Hodgepodge Crochet. So Always Learning suggested that I work into the back loops and even the third loop. So the back loop of the stitch and back here as a way of making the petals just pop a little bit and stand out from the stitches. So I am going to deviate from the instructions just a tiny little bit. I hope you'll forgive me for that because I would like to see just the edges of the petals really pop out and stand out from the granny square. So I am going to be doing it slightly differently to how the instructions ask you to do it. All right, with that said, let's get started, I guess. Let me just pull out some more yarn. All right. So let's see what I need to do. So without that slip stitch, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, if I slip stitch over here, I'm pulling this whole thing with me. And I don't think I'm meant to do that. But I also don't want to chain 3 from down here either. So maybe I will. Maybe I will slip stitch up to here, which would be weird. That's if I slip stitch and pull that up there. I mean, I know I'm just changing position for where I'm starting, but that's gonna look odd. I'll do it anyway. Pulls that petal bit down, doesn't it? It looks a bit weird, but that's what they've told us to do. Says to fourth round, color 3 begins slip stitch in first DC, which would be the chain 3 because they said the chain 3 at the beginning of the round counts as a stitch. So if I slip stitch down here, that's not going to make any sense because there's already a slip stitch there. It's odd. It's odd. Maybe I won't slip stitch. Maybe I'll just chain 3 from here and work from there. All right, forgive me if I get this wrong, you guys. It's doesn't make sense, the pattern instructions. So I'm just going to chain 3 and keep going from where I'm at. Okay, now skipping over that slip stitch. 1 DC in the next treble. Okay, so remembering I'm working into the back loop and the third loop back here. 1 double. This looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Look at that. That looks a bit odd. All right, I will do the slip stitch because that just looked a bit strange. This whole thing's a little bit curious, to be perfectly honest. None of it makes sense. Chain 3. And then am I supposed to? No, it says 1 DC in next treble, so not in the same one. So going in through the back there. 1 DC, 1/2. So in down there, half double, then 1 single crochet in the next treble. All right, and I'll continue around. So this will be just squaring everything out. Be interesting to see how that chain 3 looks there. Looks a bit strange to me. All right, 1 half double in the next one. Okay. 1 double, I imagine. It'll be 2 doubles, I think, in the next ones. Yep. All right. So I'll continue working around in the square and I'll come back to you if I have any issues. I don't think the color is going to change again anytime soon because it should stay the same color for the next 2 or 3 more rounds. So there's 6 rounds. I'm on the 4th one, so it'll do this one and then the 5th and 6th as well. So it should stay purple for quite some time. So I'm just going to keep working my way around the square and I'll get back to you when I've finished this one round so we can have a look at how that's looking. All right, I'll see you soon. So this is a bit of an interesting stitch I thought I'd share with you. So the next stitch is a treble. I'll read out their exact instructions. 1 treble in DC of second round over slip stitch of third round. So what I'm assuming is they're making a treble that's going into here. There's the second round, that's the DC, and there's the slip stitch for the third round. So we put the treble in down here. So we're pulling that up here. And that should hopefully sit over the top of that slip stitch. It's not going to, of course, for me, but it should be sitting over the top. There we go, like that. So it looks like that, and that's helping to differentiate your petals. Of course, my slip stitch is sticking out to the side there, but I can maneuver that around a little bit later. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting to be able to, it's almost like a spike stitch, but it's a treble. So you're going down into here. And I guess that's why that chain 3 works there because it's emulating that. So it's making these petals stand out by doing almost like a spike stitch down into this row here. So I'll keep working around, but I just thought I'd share that with you because it looks really interesting. I thought it would um, really help to differentiate the different petals. I'm very focused on covering that slip stitch, as you can tell. But yeah, I thought I'd share that with you just in case you pick up a skein of this yarn and you're wondering what that looks like. What exactly are they asking you to do? That's what they're asking you to do is to just, it's like a spike stitch, just down into the next one and you keep going from there. All right. I'll be back soon, guys. Okay, so the end of round 4 is starting to look like this. So I've got the last couple of stitches to go. So I'm going to finish those. And then it just says join. So I'm guessing I'll do a slip stitch then. So last double crochet. And again, going into that third loop there. So this is what it looks like from behind. Nice and flat and even. Now I'm not going to do the triple here because chain three's already done it. So I'm just going to slip stitch across. It doesn't say where, it just says join. So I'm going to join from the top of the chain three. I guess that's the slip stitch. 1, 2, 3. There's the chain. So I'm just going to slip stitch into here. And hopefully that will look okay. All right. So that's the end of round 4. So it's a little bit sort of stiff and puckered up a little bit. That'll be my tension, I imagine. But if you lay it flat, and again, I'll have to block this when it's done, but it's quite a pretty little design, isn't it? So it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. That's not too bad. It's not quite sitting flat, but that's okay. That's okay. I can live with that. So what have we got in store for round 5? More trebles, more chains. Okay. All right. Well, I'll get started on round 5. I just thought I'd give you an update on round 4. And once I know what I'm doing with round 5, I'll bring you back and talk you through what's happening next. Okay, so start of round 5. Now, I just wanted to take the time to say how much I'm actually enjoying this challenge as opposed to the all in one granny square challenge. That was not fun. In fact, that was probably the most frustrated I've ever felt while crocheting. The fact that it's all on camera is very entertaining, I know. Let's just say that hubby had a great time editing out all the expletives. But he won't need to do that this time. This is actually quite fun and I'm really enjoying it. And it's just working up so much better. It's just a much better and much more pleasurable experience using this yarn as compared to the last one. So I just wanted to let you know, absolutely confirm that this is a much better designed product compared to the last one. And this is a lot more fun. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. All right, on to round 5. So I've got a couple of trebles and some chains to do, and I'll bring you back when I'm a little further around in round 5 and just show you how that's working up. All right, so we've just started round 5. It's starting to look pretty good. You can see that we're squaring off this round circle that we started with. That circle would have made a beautiful coaster, by the way. I think it's looking pretty good. So here we go. We're starting to square it off now into the granny square shape. So you can see we've got a couple of trebles in the corner, got a couple of doubles and then some half doubles. So I'll keep going with this and I'll meet you back here again when round 5 is done. And I'll bring you back if I have any other issues, but it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. So I'm pretty happy so far. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so round 6, the final round. So round 5 went okay. I did have an issue with a missing stitch though, and I went back around and checked my stitch count and everything was fine. So I just placed my last 2 double crochet in the same stitch with the triple for the corner, and it doesn't look too bad at all. I'm happy with that. That's fine. I couldn't figure out where the issue was, so I just left it. I'm just going to pretend like it's not there. Shh, don't tell anyone. All right, well, round 6, let's get started. What do we need to do? Okay, so I need to slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So done that. What's next? Chain 2, which is not a stitch. 1 half double crochet. Let's put that in there. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now 3 half doubles. Okay. Watching my tension because this is the final round. 3 half doubles. Here we go. Whoop. 1, whoop, 2, and 3. Okay. Then chain 1. Right. 3 half double crochet in the next chain 1 space. So that would be in here. So it says in the chain space, not in the stitch. So we're going to go 3 half double crochets again. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Getting a bit tangled in this yarn. Chain 1. Okay, so where's the next chain 1 space? There it is there, in between the 2 singles. So in we go with 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 1 again. So it's a fairly simple final round, which is good. That's always a good thing to end on. So once again, we're looking for the next chain 1 space, which is here. So 3 half doubles. Here we go again. Well, getting stuck. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now we're at the corner. So now we'll do 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3. Chain 3, which seems quite a lot for a little corner. And then another 3 half doubles again to finish the other cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Chain 1. So that's essentially what I'm doing for the final round is a lot of half double crochet chain 1 until we get all the way around. So I will continue with that. I'll keep working my way around and I'll meet you back here to finalize the last round. How exciting! How exciting! All right. Okay, I'll see you soon. Okay, so final stretch of the final row. Almost done. Look at that. All right, let's do this together. Let's bring it home together. So we've got 3 half doubles, 2, and 3, chain 1, 3 half doubles in the chain 1 space again. Oh, that's a bit loose. 1, 2, getting tangled. And 3. All right, chain 1 and the last lot of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now, because we've already got a chain 2 and 1 half double in there, we just need to do one more in that space. Actually, saying to do 2. Oh, because that's right. Because the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So that's going to be kind of squishy, but we'll see how we go. Surely you would just include the, it's quite a thick stitch. Surely you would just include the chain 2 and slip stitch to the top of it. So then that would be a 3. If I feel like if I put a second one in there, that's going to be way too big. I think I'm just going to fasten off, slip stitch to the top of the chain 2, I think, because that's just going to be way too big. Put another half double in there. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. You're crazy, pattern. I think just by finishing off like that, that we are done. Wow, look at that. So there you have it. What a fantastic yarn. Look at this little granny square. I'm so happy. What a completely different experience that was. That's amazing. So clearly I have to weave in the ends and I need to give it a little bit of a blocking. But you know what? I'm really proud of that and I think that looks gorgeous. It's a very sweet little design, isn't it? So the first thing I have to say is a huge thank you. Thank you so much to Tanya at Hodgepodge Crochet for sending me this beautiful yarn. And thank you so much to Always Learning for the recommendation of going into the back loops when working around the petals. What a great idea. Thank you both so much. That was really helpful and I really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much. Also, if my beautiful friend Kay is watching, I need to say thank you to you for teaching me how to read a graph, a crochet graph. I relied so much more on the graph than I did the written instructions for this particular pattern, and that's not normally how I work. Normally, a written pattern makes much more sense to me, but for this particular granny square, the little graph, that was just genius. That worked much better for me and made much more sense. I could see exactly what I needed to do and it worked beautifully. So thank you, Kay, for teaching me how to do that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so any tips or tricks for you? Not really. I guess the best thing I can say to you, if you do go out and purchase some of this yarn, is just to keep giving it a try. Maybe try a different hook size. I'm quite tempted to try again with maybe a 5 or a 6 mil just to see what the differences are. I'd love to remake another one with a 5.5 and just try to relax my tension a little bit more. Just in some areas, it's a little bit tight and that can make things a little bit stiff in the square. But apart from that, that's about it. Just being able to enjoy the process so much more using this yarn was just so lovely. Uh, when I was using this yarn to make this poor square, it was not a pleasurable experience and it was so stressful. It was like the worst game of yarn chicken I've ever played, and I was doing it on camera. So it wasn't a fun time, I have to say. But having said all of that, maybe this is the perfect yarn for you. Maybe your tension's going to work beautifully with this yarn. Maybe you might not need to try different hook sizes. It might just work for you the first time around. Or maybe you're someone that likes to tinker with new yarns. Maybe you could come up with different designs using this yarn. Maybe this is going to look beautiful as a blanket or as some other different design. Who knows? The yarn itself is actually good quality, it's quite soft, and it works up really lovely. And again, the stitch definition, I have to say, if you put aside the tension, the stitch definition of the actual yarn is quite good. I actually like the look of these stitches. I think they sit quite well. And I think that that definition in there is just fantastic. You can very clearly see each stitch. You can see how it blends in with the next one. It works together really well. So the yarn itself isn't the issue. I guess for me, my tension just doesn't work with this particular yarn, but worked a lot better with this one. I think this one's just much more better designed. And I think they've thought through the process a little bit more. So it just seems to work much better, particularly in my case, anyway. So, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Have you worked with either of these yarns? Do you have a preference for one or the other? Have you made something else using this yarn that you could recommend for me to use this yarn for? I'm sort of stuck. I keep thinking blankets, maybe. I know there are some wildlife patterns I'd like to work up using this yarn, but if there's another option out there, I'd like to hear about it. That would be fantastic. If you have any tips or tricks for working with this yarn, by all means, leave them in the comments section. I'm sure there are many more people out there that would like to learn from that and can benefit from watching this video and reading the comments section. That's my favorite. I love going through everyone's comments and hearing about what you're working on, and any little tips or advice you have for me is always appreciated. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that you take that time out of your day to spend with me. That just blows my mind. Thank you so much for that. I hope this was entertaining, if not educational at least. All right, guys, take care of each other and take care of yourselves, because you absolutely do deserve it. I know I always say it, but I absolutely mean it. Please take care. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.